Today I'm installing a hinged enclosure on a Evolution DMAX. This is the top of the line Evolution forward facing 4-seater. It's got the aluminum front posts, so that's a differentiator between the D5. It's got the nicer seats and the nicer armrests. So I'm installing a Doorworks enclosure, a 4-door Doorworks enclosure. The first step, all I did was I removed the bolts. I didn't actually remove the bolts. I loosened the top bolt and I removed the bottom bolt with the spacer. You can see here I haven't removed this one. So basically when I removed the top bolt, it allowed me to pry the windshield open a little bit, and then I loosened the top bolt and I removed the bottom bolt and spacer. And that allowed me to slide the fabric in between the windshield and the forward post. Next, I installed the header bar. There's 3 tabs. You use a 10 millimeter bolt. You actually use a machine screw. There's 3 tabs that fit underneath the outer edge of the roof, and these tabs actually go flush to the roof on the inside. And the reason why you install the front fabric first is that helps you determine where you're going to put these machine screws in, these 3 machine screws. There's another one right there. You see, there's an inner panel and there's a groove, and then there's an outer ridge that goes on, and that allows you to put the rail flush to the roof. And so here's the 3rd one at the back. Once you install that header rail, then you kind of got your forward panel in place, and you slide the front post of the door kit into the panel, and then you pull it tight, and now you can see I was able to put this adjustable portion in place. And then down below they want you to put a C-clamp, and now you're kind of monkeying with it a little bit to get the post straight up and down and have the fabric flush. I'm going to mess around with it a little bit more. There's some kind of waves right there. I'm not sure I can get that out. Then you put the double hinged door post in the middle, and then you put the rear post on. So those are all kind of hanging free. There are some spacers that are going to have to be installed. They're optional. You could remove the armrest. I don't want to remove the armrest, so there are these 3-inch plastic spacers that have to be installed at the bottom of the rocker panel, right in that gap, so you have clearance for your armrests at the back and at the middle. All right, so now I'm at step 6, which is the frame adjustment. I have hung the door frames on the center double hinge post. I highly recommend lubricating the hinges, the female hinges, because that's a super tight fit, and you got to take the doors on and off several times, and it's just very difficult if you don't have them lubed up. The instructions say to put a C-clamp down here at the base, but because of the armrests, it's really difficult to put a C-clamp down there and just be able to move things around. So what I did was I C-clamped the door as I hung it to the header. So I did that on the front and the rear door, and then I was able to get a C-clamp on the rear post using the armrest. So now I've got it kind of in position. You can see there's a pretty big gap right there. It's supposed to be a 1/4-inch gap, so that's not right. This center post actually looks pretty good, and then the front post has got a bit of a gap to it, so I can tell that I don't have any room for adjustment on the front, but I do have quite a bit of room on the back. So I'm going to make that adjustment and we'll see what happens. So I made the adjustments. I just I slid that bracket a little more towards the front, and then I actually adjusted my C-clamp forward a little bit. I'm going to move that a tiny bit more forward, but you kind of get the idea of what I've had to do there. The middle post remains the same, looks good. And then the front post, I was thinking of it backwards. I did have a lot of room to adjust. I can slide it that way, which would close the gap there. And then at the bottom, you know, I'm going to have to push this forward before I actually mount it. So it's going to work out fine. All right, so I started installing the snaps, and the instructions say to do the bottom ones first, but I noticed that there was a pretty sizable air gap up here. So I started with the top one first, just because I wanted to make sure that this was as small a gap as possible. And I mean, even as tight as I have this, there's still a little bit of an air gap there. Hopefully that won't be a big deal. I'm going to try to pull this fabric up when I cinch it off and get it even smaller. So I started at the top. I tried to make sure everything was pretty smooth going down, and then I did this one first, and I'm going to pull them tight and mark them. I'm just going to do them one at a time. They should get pretty snug against this wheel well right in here where the white is, like that. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so I got all of the snaps put in pretty good. This one I misjudged a little bit. I got it a little too low and it won't snap. So I'm gonna get everything else put together and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna try to reposition that snap. But it just shows how important it is to mark those properly and get them spaced just right. So now I just did step 9, installing the crossbar cover. It's just a piece of sunbrella material to cover up the bar on the inside of the door. Really easy. You just kind of just put it over it and put the Velcro on. Super simple. Step 9, there's an optional step to install 3-inch spacers to accommodate the armrests on the vehicle. You can see this has got these really nice armrests that will push the door frame out from the vehicle. It's probably going to create a little bit of a gap down. It is going to create a gap down below. Hopefully that won't be too much airflow. But I don't want to remove the armrests. I like them, so I'm gonna try this at first. And if the airflow is too much, or if it just doesn't seem durable, you can always remove the armrests and put the door and the post flush to the rocker panel. So I'm going to install these 3-inch spacers right here to push the front post out, and then we'll do it on the center post, and then we'll also do it on the rear post, which we're going to have to remove this fender, I believe. Yeah, we'll definitely have to remove the fender to get in behind the body to install that. Now I'm doing the the rear upright. Basically had to remove the fender, and I left one bolt in. I can kind of pivot it away. There is a shield underneath the wheel well that's got to be spread apart. So I actually took one of the spacers and I jammed the spacer in between the wheel well and the cover, so I have enough room to stick my hand up underneath there so I can hold the nut on the back side. So now I'm getting ready to put this spacer and bolt in place. So I got the rear spacer installed and reattached the fender. Pretty simple. I had to go to the store and get a 4 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch bolt because the ones they sent were too long. Also, I installed the door latch and they forgot to drill the hole where the door latch mounts on the door, so I drilled the hole there, no big deal. When you're installing a door latch, you've got a couple little spacers that go in between it, and then you just snug it up tight so the latch has got a little resistance. Really a simple part of the install. So that's 1/2. So I've got this this half installed. I'm really pleased with it. It's pretty well sealed tight. I mean, there's a few gaps here and there, but I mean, it's actually, it fit really well. So now I'm going to put the rear canvas on, and then I'll do the other side, but the other side's going to be the same as this side, so shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so now that I've got the other side on, I started putting the back curtain slide rails on. They're just kind of a C channel, and you take these small machine screws and you just screw them right underneath into the plastic of the roof. There's a little ridge there, and it's just pretty much flush with the roof line, maybe a little bit inside of that. And then this last little piece will Velcro around the post, and that'll be pretty close to being fully enclosed. Okay, here's the finished product. I put some plumber's insulation, pipe insulation on the bottom and on the top. There is some accessories to seal those off, but I didn't have them, so I just kind of improvised there. Really sharp looking. The seals are pretty tight. I drove around in it just a second ago, and it did the job. Looks really sharp, fits well. It took about maybe 4 or 6 hours to get it all done, so it wasn't hard, it was just time consuming. You can see the fit is really tight, very sturdy, well done. I recommend it. I hope this video helps.